I'm Davey.
I'm Misty.
Core values.
EDM Plus.
Unscripted.
Unedited.
I wasn't.
Unapologetic.
Let's get it.
Here we go. What's up, everybody? Or should I say, what's going on, everybody? I am Davey.
I'm Misty.
And welcome to another episode of DM Watch Podcast, guys. So right now it's Sunday, because you know we air them the next day.
Yeah.
It's Sunday to us. And I feel like we just got 3 different types of weather.
We did in 2 hours.
Right. This morning, it started off, it was
Beautiful.
It was like 50 something, it was almost 60 degrees this morning. And randomly, our dog ran in, probably a few hours later, our dog ran into the house. And when I went to go close the door, and sure enough, it was like 34 degrees outside. It's 34 degrees.
Yeah, it was very cool.
And now, as we're recording,
it's hailing
and thunder.
And we're expecting snow.
So
we went from 80 degrees this week.
Yeah, to now you bring on the snow.
And I've been down most of the weekend with my fibro because of the weather. I had like 4 or 5 hours this morning to where I was like, yes, I'm good.
Yeah. So if you ever wonder what the weather is like in Kansas? Yeah.
Wait 5 minutes. It's a real thing.
Yeah, wait. That's right. They say wait 5 minutes.
It's a standard joke, but this year that's really what it is in Kansas.
They say wait 5 minutes. So there's that. Let's just start off with this. So crypto.com, NFTs. Yeah, crypto.
Hurry up.
Yeah, because it's thundering out there.
The Fedbot needs oil.
Crypto.com, NFTs. You guys make sure you do a search for Misty. You'll find a buttload of NFTs over there. Some really nice ones. DMWatchPodcast.com is where you can find our videos. You also can catch us all on all these streaming services. Doge, AMC, Shiba, Saitama ain't up there. And of course, Nisa says hello.
Oh yeah, Nisa says hi.
Yeah, Nisa says hi.
And muddy paws.
Yeah, muddy paws. That's
all over our nice cream colored couches.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy.
I was not happy with myself. I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, let me tell you, that was
I'll just let her out in the rain.
Yeah.
Let her experience it.
So of course we'd be remiss if we didn't say anything about, obviously things are still going on over there in Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me.
Still happening.
Still going on over there in Ukraine. If you guys can send your support out to Ukraine, whether you pray, whether you look for a reputable charity to send to give money or whatever you can send out to Ukrainians, please do, because it's bad. It's bad over there. It's bad over there. And I feel like every time we turn on the TV, they're getting closer and closer. Russia's getting closer and closer. And I feel like, it looks like, it's not saying that other countries aren't doing anything. I just feel like, hey, it's like you can only yell at somebody so much before they're like numb to your yelling. It's the action, right? It's the action.
It's the action. You got to swing on 3.
Yeah, people. Exactly. You can yell and yell.
You can count all you want.
Yeah, but when you don't do anything, you got to
swing on 3.
Exactly. So then it's like, man.
Some people swing on 2.
Yeah. Some people are like, look, bro, I ain't playing these games with y'all.
Yeah, you can't, because you won't be respected if you go 1, 2, 3. Okay, now stop.
3.5.
No.
I mean it.
No.
You're lucky
1,
I got
2,
the 4.
Boom.
Yep. And so, but yeah, I mean that's one of those things over there. It's bad, man. And then we heard, we was looking at the new. I mean, take it what you will, but then we see people on there that not only are they dealing with trying to get people out, now apparently there's talks of racism being done over there.
Yeah.
There was what were they, Nigerians?
Nigerian students
trying to get on the plane, the trains to get out of Ukraine.
Yeah, to flee.
Yeah, to get out of there.
And they weren't being allowed to.
They weren't being allowed to get on there. And he said, you when you first look at it, you're like, no, this isn't racism. There's got to be something else.
And we did. We did everything. We played devil's advocate.
We're like, well, maybe.
We kept reading and we kept watching the news.
Right.
And we're like,
we're like, well, maybe,
really
hey, they have to be. Because remember they said 18 to 60, like, no, you were saying
they were men.
They were men.
And then they were like, no, this is happening to the women and some children too. And that's when we were like, yeah.
What is your excuse? You're holding guns to these people, telling them to get off the train to other people.
That's not okay.
Now, granted, it's the same thing as what people say versus what you see, but let's be honest, most of the stuff that you hear about is after it happens. So you know what I mean? But so with those things, I really do hope that that's not a thing over there. I really do.
Me too.
Because everybody's just trying to get to safety. What doesn't matter, the color of my skin is like, hey, Safety is safety. So,
Absolutely.
but anyway, moving on. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the topic out of here.
Okay.
Our handy dandy fishbowl. Oh, I got one of the old ones.
You got one of the old ones.
I got one of the old
I'm
ones.
sorry, I keep looking at my hair. It's so pretty.
Yeah. So,
Love it.
yeah. Do we want to do this one? Not really. Well, you know what? We can do it.
Let's do it because that's kind
Yeah.
of like what we were just talking
And we
about.
were just talking about it. Today's topic is DNA. Boom.
It's all
Booyah.
about DNA.
Yes, all about the DNA.
In one of the books that I wrote,
Yeah. So
I actually talk about DNA, and that DNA stands for your divine natural ability. And
Boom.
that's exactly what DNA is.
Officially is what? Dionucleate was some scientific
I
name.
won't Google it. Do I look like Google?
Nah, you never know. You might have just knew that at the top of your head.
Portuguese OnStar. Yeah, no, I don't remember it. But there are things in our DNA that can be unlocked. It's nature versus nurture. Where you are, things locked away in your DNA can come out depending on the environment you're in, stressors, foods, etc. And then there is something called the memory gene, and that is a real thing.
Really?
And that is memory, kind of muscle memory locked away from our ancestors, which can account for, you know, maybe liking the same foods as an ancestor, or having the same personality, or liking the same TV show. It's just, it's silly stuff, but that is a real thing, and that's my spiel on DNA.
Yeah. Well, DNA. So we did the Ancestry.
We did Ancestry.
Yeah, was it for Christmas?
We have been categorized by the Mormons.
Yep. Was it for Christmas you got it for me, or was it?
I don't remember,
Was
but I
it-
bought it for you.
Yeah,
Yes.
she bought it. And so I did that. So Ancestry, they do this thing where you know, you can, and it had been for Christmas. I think it was on sale too. We got them on sale or something.
Right.
This was not last year, the year before. So we got the little test in. You do a little swab, or not swab, but you spit in the tube.
Spit in the tube.
And then,
Well, 3 spit takes.
yep, and then it takes about, you know, roughly about a month before.
Well,
it,
before that, you know,
it's
before
about 2
COVID,
weeks.
it
Before
was,
COVID. What?
Before COVID, it was months
Really?
because it was so
Oh.
popular.
Hmm.
But with COVID, nobody was doing it, you know,
Oh,
DNA test.
no, well,
So now it's actually kind of quicker.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
so I did mine, and mine came out to. Oh well, I'll let you read yours
Yeah,
first.
I
You go
pulled
ahead and
mine
read yours.
up.
I'm gonna pull mine up. So you
So-
read yours first.
Big shock, I'm Portuguese.
Yep.
But what's interesting,
Percentage though. What percentage?
my percentage is 26%, Portuguese 34%, England and Northwestern Europe. I'm 13% Scottish, 10% Spanish,
Mhm.
8% Wales, 7% France, and 2% Irish. By God, I'm celebrating this March. But
Yeah.
what's interesting about that is, you know, when we're kids and we go to elementary school and middle school, high school, we're taught this rudimentary kind of, you know, elementary way of thinking about DNA.
Okay.
And so you grow up, and my father was Portuguese and a very dark man, and my mother was what I call hillbilly,
Okay.
but she's not. But she's Heinz 57 for people, you know, it's just this mixture of spices
Yeah,
and
it's
herbs
just,
and flowers and
Yeah.
stuff.
If you don't know,
Uh,
ask somebody.
yeah.
With that references too.
But we call her Chief Whitehair, the hillbilly. So, but you know, you just automatically, you kind of have this elementary way of thinking, and it's like, oh, well, okay, so I'm half Portuguese.
Mm.
You know, and because my father's Portuguese, so I absorbed that culture.
Yeah.
I absorbed the Azorean culture and the foods and the tastes and all of that. And, you know, I'm raised with my family who's Portuguese and Hawaiian.
Yeah.
So you just automatically, so then when I got my DNA back, and it was like, hey, you're 26% Portuguese, you're this percent Sicilian, and you're
Yeah.
10% Spanish, I was just like, huh, really?
Well,
My
you got a
sister,
little more in you than you knew.
my sister is like 34% Portuguese.
Hmm.
And it's funny because like I'm more Portuguese than she is, my coloring and the culture.
Yeah.
But then my son, who I know is mine and never left my sight while he was born and after he was born, I know he was not switched at birth. Zero.
Hmm.
No Portuguese blood whatsoever.
It's weird how that
And
works.
that's what, when, you know, a baby's being made, you have a billion different combinations. And so what his body did was absorb all the German DNA from me, all the German DNA from his father, and I have a German for a kid.
Yeah. Mine was a bit different, clearly. Yeah, clearly.
We were surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised though. Like mine came up and it says
Again,
here.
you're the one that said, "Babe,
Yeah,
I'm black."
I told her, I said, baby, I'm black. So
Okay, we'll make that phone call to the bouncy house for you.
Nigerian, 32%. 32% Nigerian. I was like, I guess I wouldn't have guessed Nigerian. You know what I mean? Honestly, I didn't even really know what
Which
to
is
expect.
funny because it was the second one that I bet on. And
so the Cameroon, Congo, and Western Bantu peoples.
Yeah, 27%.
27% on that one.
And then the one that made me laugh was a couple of them made me laugh. The Benin and Togo,
yeah.
12%. Now the reason why that made me laugh is because this man hates anything that has to do with voodoo. It even looks like it has to do with voodoo. He is gone. I had a painting that he didn't even want hanging in the house because beautiful painting, by the way, and it sold.
It did.
That's why I'm worldwide. But because he thought it was like a voodoo priestess, and it was just an old Cuban woman. But Benin and Togo is like where voodoo originates. That is where it comes from. And I was just cracking up because I was like, no wonder you're afraid of voodoo. It's like some ancestry memory gene.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's from Benin and Togo. Is that where that's from? The birthplace of voodoo or something?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was Benin or Togo, but it's the birthplace of voodoo. And then of course, Swedish and Denmark.
Yeah, Sweden and Denmark.
God.
Yeah, Sweden and Denmark. Hence the
the beard.
Mm-hmm.
The beard.
I think I'm like Thor's lost brother or something.
He's my Viking.
Yeah, I'm like Thor's lost brother. You know what I mean? The one that they don't claim with no powers.
But it was really interesting. I mean, I think it was cool to see the tribal area.
Yeah, and then I get Senegal. So I was surprised that. Granted, it wasn't a huge one. You know, Senegal was only 20%, but I was like, oh, that's still cool. But one of the other things that we would talk about was, I've seen on the Facebook was they talk about African ancestry. And which I also in that one I believe they break it down to like tribes,
more into the tribes,
and stuff like that. And
which I think would be really cool for you because I mean I don't have that option unless there's like a Portuguese or
Well, and that was my next thing I was about to say. I was waiting for you to finish. I was like, I have no doubt that they probably be able to break it down in further in the like tribes themselves. But then there's that. I feel like that also leaves the door open to you're Portuguese, but Portuguese DNA, like you said, Portuguese DNA or ancestry. Now it's like, okay, at what point are we getting just a little too far? Where it's just like, okay, is this true or is this something that people are just making money off of after a while? You know what I mean? At what point is that? It's like, okay, you got the African Ancestry.com. I get there are plenty of tribes. I'm sure that if they came down to it for Indians, it'd be but I think I don't know if that's an Ancestry.com thing you go through when you if they would something that Ancestry.com does. Yeah, for Native Americans, people. Yeah.
No, it is now. See, and that's the thing about when you take these tests. So like back in the day, and even when I took mine, which was like 6 years ago, and then I had an aunt who took it, I want to say like 8 years ago. The thing is the more people that take it, the more results you get, the more they can narrow down to tribes, down to more origins, down to a better percentage of what you are. So it really is dependent on how many people get it. So to me, I do believe it because I've seen it grow from where they couldn't really tell because not a lot of people with indigenous blood had done it. To where now they're getting it down to where they can say tribes.
Really?
Yeah. And they've got it down to an Eve gene now.
And so I think that actually helps too. A lot of people who like they just don't know, like, hey, my mom, grandmother, or my grandmother, whatever, great, whatever, was like, hey, you're actually Indian.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, but
princess theory.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, I can't just go up and be like, oh, I'm actually Indian. My grandmother on my so-and-so side told me this.
Well,
like, no,
and that's the thing, because on my mom's side of the family, there is. And I can show you by pictures and by names that there is native blood. However, I took on no native. My blood is not. And it's so trippy how that works.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't even know what they use to do all of that stuff. But I just find it fascinating because when you start thinking about DNA, that's one way they can use DNA, right, to determine where you
Sure.
came from. But like you said, you can also use it to determine, different traits
Yeah.
and so on. Different, hey, they use DNA now to figure, hey, this person is more likely to be born with like a disability. You know what I mean, or something like that. Like, you know what I mean?
When they do, the testing when, what is it, gestational, whatever.
Mhm.
When you're pregnant, they can
To
do
let you know, like,
tests
hey,
to make sure
this child is going to have this, or this is going to be an issue, or so on and so forth. You're more susceptible to this, and so on and so forth.
And
But
I don't really, I don't think it was our intent to make this like an ancestry.com.
No.
Do it 23andMe, whatever.
Yeah.
You want to do.
Yeah.
But it's so cool because
Mhm.
it does connect you, like those, you get those commercials and you're like, yeah, right. Oh,
Mhm.
it connects me and I feel so special. No, there's something about it that actually makes you feel grounded and
Yeah.
connected to Earth.
Well,
It's really strange how that feels.
but there's also the other part of the ancestry where it's not just, hey, this many percent this many percent this. For everything it has on there that says your percentage of this, you can go to like that story and it will tell you the history
Yeah.
of parts of the things that you are. So like I can hit Nigeria and you can look, what is it, baby? Is that I think it's not DNA story, but traits.
No,
Is it,
it's here. Go to that and then go to
I think it's
the
DNA. And then I think you just click that.
right.
Yeah,
So
you just click on.
But you can also do it by year. See 1700.
Oh wow, yeah. See, so it breaks it down
and it tells you on kind of both sides of it. So as far as your DNA goes, your blood's migration.
Mhm.
In the 1700s, it already shows you your bloodline in North Carolina.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hard to deny.
Yeah. Coming from it actually. So like mine, like I said, it said 32% Nigeria,
Right.
and you can hit the button for Nigeria, and then it opens it up and it has a timeline. All right, from the 1600s, 1700s, this is what was going on.
Right, where like,
so
okay,
on.
And when I hit mine 1700s, it tells me that the German part of me went over to the Chesapeake and Delaware Valley, and at the same time my Portuguese side of the family was doing Madeira to the Azores.
Yeah.
And doing this world trade kind of thing. So because then you don't see the Azorian side of my family in America until the 20s.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing, so I feel like, these are good to find out, I mean,
think it's fun because I think it proves that we're not just one thing.
Yeah.
It also proves that there's no such thing as a true American unless you are Native.
Absolutely.
And by Native, I mean Indigenous.
Yeah.
And we all come from somewhere. Some of us willingly, some of us not so willingly.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing that you and I always say is it's amazing you and I are even here.
Yeah.
Once we see this bloodline
Absolutely.
and see what the people before us went through, what our ancestors went through, how the hell are we here?
Those are tough ones because when you, we always joke, if you have children, right? And they're like, man, these kids wouldn't survive when I was back in my day or whatever. And the reality is we wouldn't survive back in those days at all because shit was hard.
Not.
Shit was really hard. We talk about, I talk about like in my day getting meals from a church because we couldn't afford, you know what I mean? But then it's like, yeah, well, at least you had that. Some, you know what I mean? It's like back then it was like,
yeah,
you're like, nah, there was nowhere to go, especially if you were, my complexion. And then at the same time,
exactly,
there was a time when your people too was like, hey, now.
So, that's the thing, like my family on the Portuguese side escaped the famines, escaped slavery in some respects, escaped droughts, escaped all these things that were happening, ran away to Hawaii just to kind of go through the same stuff because Hawaii was like, oh yeah, sure,
Yeah.
And the CNH sugar, I'm calling them out.
Yeah.
And making the Portuguese and the Azorians work for nothing. and they're doing all of this, that so much so that half of them just got up and went to Kanaka Row in San Leandro, and the other half just assimilated into the Hawaiian culture. They didn't even want to say they were Portuguese anymore. I wouldn't have been able to go through that. Like, that's amazing to me. And then we look on your history, and it's like, how did they even survive that journey?
And that's
because it was not
right. It was not a it was.
I'm not gonna go in details, but it's not
pretty,
good.
Yeah, it's pretty
if
bad.
you haven't seen a slavery ship and how it was done,
it's.
I don't know how anybody survived.
One of the, I ain't gonna say truest, but one of the best that I have seen depictions of it was the movie Roots. The things that were happening, and even Amistad. You know, there was the movie Amistad to depict what, but even then, you really can't grasp.
Even then, I don't think the gravity of it is really understood.
But I also believe with DNA, and we talk about DNA, I also believe because your ancestors went through what they went through, I believe it's embedded into our DNA to be some people survivors. To some people that have a thriving energy, of can't quit attitude, like, no, I have to do something. You know what I mean? And then, like, some people, ancestors may have been in their DNA to be like, look, man, whatever you do, hide. Don't matter what, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? It may be embedded in them. It may be embedded as the survivor skills versus no, go find shelter, do whatever, get out of there. You know what I mean? And all the way down to, hell, look, you sweat like this because it is something that has always happened. You know what I mean? And so I think our DNA, I feel like there's so many unanswered questions to our DNA. What makes us up, with the DNA? Because I feel like it's kind of like the brain. Like, scientists know so much, but so little about the brain.
Well, to me, the brain is the ocean. We have no idea
what's there.
We haven't even explored. And our planet is ocean, and we don't even know it. And it's the same with the brain. We know more about space, I'm pretty sure, than we do about the ocean and the brain. I don't quote me.
We find most stuff out about the ocean during flooding. During flooding. I mean, think about it. The hell, when Katrina happened, that massive all day, and then that was one thing I don't know if people even know, that when it started subsiding, they started finding fish. Was like, what the hell is this? Different type of species being discovered. Was like, what? But no, seriously, whatever you want to take from that, whatever. But DNA itself is confusing, but amazing at the same time.
If you want to know just how different you are between your brother and sister, your siblings, your cousins, or your children, and that was what was fascinating to me, because Devin and I are so different. Yet I've instilled all of that culture into him, and he can cook with the best Portuguese people out there. And I think that's amazing to me. And I think it gives everybody a sense of value and purpose to get to learn about their ancestors' past.
And then, so look,
do it.
You heard us talk about Ancestry.
Do it.
Do it.
But, like it, Mikey.
So Ancestry.com. What was it?
23andMe. You can even now you can do the one for health, which I'd like to do.
I don't remember the name of that one, but
that's 23andMe.
Is it 23? Okay,
you can do Ancestry, you can do health.
So and if you're just like, hey, I want to know, the blackancestry.com, those are all, I'm pretty sure there's more that we just don't know.
There is, but the thing is once you do one, you can then take your results and feed them into another one. You're gonna have to pay for it. So like the African one, the Black History, we can take your DNA results and they'll plug it into their system.
Okay, that's awesome. I didn't know that either, but that'd be great.
They have a Viking one too.
That would be cool.
We should do the Viking one.
They'd be like, we've been looking for you for this whole time. You're the missing link. I'm like, I've been here the whole time. I wasn't missing. But hey, so which one do you like? What do you guys know about DNA? What do you find fun about it? What do you like? What scares you? DNA, but dmwatchpodcast@gmail.com is where y'all go ahead and send those questions to. Crypto.com, NFTs. Make sure you guys search for Misty and you'll find a bunch of good NFTs out there. dmwatchpodcast.com. I got it that time. The videos.
I think it's the sleep.
That could have been it. All the social media services. You guys, we still about that Doge AMC life. If I recall, I've read something on AMC where the CEO said, hey, March is still in effect for them to start accepting Doge and Shiba.
Really?
Yep, Doge and
Oh, that'll
Shiba.
be good.
It said later on in the month of March. So
Hey,
we'll see what
Taco
happens.
Bell, you said my Mexican pizza
We
was
looking out
coming
for
back
you.
in
Look,
March.
we
That's
looking
all
out
I
for you,
care
Taco
about.
Bell. Yeah, shit get real. We not playing. And Saitama, we got a few things to talk about. But
Yeah.
hey, Nisa says hello, and so does Scar. They're just down there. Look, she's looking at us.
I know.
heard my
She's
name.
like, huh?
But hey, you guys take it easy. So signing off for DMY's podcast. I'm Davey.
I'm Misty.
And please take care of each other. You guys don't forget to pray for Ukraine. Okay, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.